Welcome to On Call with Dr. Anselm Anyoha. Today's episode is dedicated to one of the most exciting and sometimes nerve-wracking milestones for new parents: your baby's very first visit to the pediatrician. This visit usually happens within the first few days after discharge from the hospital, often when the baby is about 3 to 5 days old. For many parents, this is the first time they leave the house with their newborn, carefully buckle the car seat, and step out feeling both proud and unsure at the same time. It's a moment filled with joy, questions, and sometimes anxiety. Parents want reassurance that their baby is healthy, feeding well, and adjusting to life outside the womb. Pediatricians use this visit to assess the baby's transition, support the family, and begin a relationship that may last throughout childhood. In today's conversation, we'll explore what happens during this first visit, why it matters, what parents should expect, and how pediatricians guide families through the earliest days of life.
Dr. Anyoha, for many parents, this first pediatric appointment feels like a major milestone, sometimes even more intimidating than the hospital stay itself. Why is this very first visit so important, and what role does it play in a baby's health and in a family's confidence moving forward?
The first pediatric visit is important because it sets the tone for the baby's health journey and for the relationship between the family and their pediatrician. Babies are usually discharged from the hospital after 2 or 3 days, sometimes longer if they were born by cesarean section or needed extra monitoring. Once home, parents suddenly become responsible for observing feeding, sleep, crying, diaper output, and overall well-being. At this visit, we check the baby's weight, length, and head circumference, and we carefully review hospital records. That includes birth weight, details of the delivery, whether the baby received vitamin K, eye ointment, and the hepatitis B vaccine. We ask about jaundice, feeding patterns, sleep, and how things are going at home. But this visit is not just a medical checklist. It's about reassurance, education, and helping parents feel confident during a time when everything feels new.
Parents are often surprised by how many questions are asked during this visit, sometimes before the baby is even examined. What kinds of questions do you usually ask during that first conversation? And how do those questions help you understand both the baby's health and the family's situation?
We begin with conversation. I ask parents about the pregnancy and delivery. Were there any complications? Was the baby jaundiced in the hospital? Did the baby need phototherapy? Then we talk about life at home. How is feeding going? Breastfeeding, formula, or both? How often is the baby eating? Every 2 or 3 hours? Is the baby waking up on their own to feed, or do parents need to wake them? How many wet diapers and dirty diapers are they seeing each day? I also ask about support. Who is helping at home? Is this their first baby, or are their older siblings adjusting to the new arrival? These questions help me understand not just the baby's medical status, but the family's daily reality, stress level, and support system. So the guidance I give is practical and tailored.
Parents also notice that their baby is weighed, measured, and examined very carefully during this first visit. Can you walk us through the measurements and physical examination that are done and explain why each step matters in these early days?
We start with measurements. We check the weight, knowing that most babies lose a little weight after birth. We compare today's weight to the birth weight and look for healthy trends. We measure length, which usually does not change much in the first week. We measure head circumference, which is critical for monitoring early brain growth. Then we perform a full physical exam. We check newborn reflexes such as rooting, sucking, grasping, and the moro, or startle, reflex. We observe muscle tone and strength to see whether the baby is alert, active, and vigorous. We examine the hips for stability, inspect the circumcision site if applicable, and carefully look at the umbilical cord to be sure it is healing well, dry, and free of infection. For parents, seeing these steps often brings reassurance. For pediatricians, they confirm that the baby is adapting well to life outside the womb.
Feeding quickly becomes one of the biggest concerns once families leave the hospital. What guidance do you usually give parents about feeding during this first visit, and what common worries do you help put to rest?
Feeding is central to this visit. I encourage parents to feed on demand. If a baby shows hunger cues, they should be fed. Pacifiers should not be used to delay feeding in the early days. I explained that breastfed babies need vitamin D supplementation until solid foods are introduced. Formula-fed babies usually receive enough vitamin D from formula alone. I also remind parents that newborns typically feed every 2 to 3 hours, day and night. If a baby does not wake up on their own after about 3 hours, parents should gently wake them to feed, especially in the first couple of weeks.
Sleep and crying can feel unpredictable and overwhelming for new parents. What do you tell families about newborn sleep patterns and crying? And how do you guide them in soothing their babies safely and effectively?
Newborns sleep a lot, but often in short stretches and not on a predictable schedule. I explained that crying is a baby's main form of communication. Most of the time, it signals hunger, discomfort, or the need for closeness. I encourage parents to check diapers, offer feeding, and use soothing techniques such as skin-to-skin contact, swaddling, gentle holding, and talking softly to their baby. Babies recognize voices, respond to touch, and benefit from eye contact. These early interactions build emotional security and lay the foundation for language, bonding, and social development.
While most newborns are healthy, parents often worry about missing something important. During this first visit, what concerns are you especially watching for? And when should parents reach out if something doesn't seem right?
We watch closely for warning signs such as excessive weight loss, poor feeding, unusual sleepiness, signs of infection around the umbilical cord, breathing difficulties, or weak reflexes. If concerns arise, we act promptly. That may include further evaluation, treatment, or closer follow-up. Early recognition and intervention make a big difference.
Many parents arrive at this first appointment feeling anxious, even when everything is going well. How do you use this visit to reassure parents and help them feel more confident in their new role?
Reassurance is a major part of the visit. I emphasize that most babies are healthy and thriving. I congratulate parents for what they are already doing well. I explain that small weight changes are normal, show parents their baby's reflexes and strength, and help them see signs of healthy development with their own eyes. I remind them that parenting is a learning process. Babies and parents grow together. Over time, routines form and confidence grows.
As we wrap up, what final message would you like parents to take away about their baby's first visit to the pediatrician, especially those who may be feeling nervous or overwhelmed?
The first pediatric visit is more than a medical check. It is the beginning of a partnership between families and healthcare providers. Parents should expect conversation, measurements, examination, and guidance. They should also expect reassurance, encouragement, and support. This visit lays the foundation for healthy growth, emotional security, and parental confidence. It reminds us that caring for a newborn is not just about feeding and sleeping. It is about building a relationship rooted in love, trust, and connection. Thank you for joining me on Call with Dr. Anselm Anyoha. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with friends and family, especially new parents preparing for their baby's first visit.